What's up, everybody? This is Josh here with Basement Level Magic, and I'm going to give you the 5 tips that has gotten me to a 16-2 record while drafting aggro decks so far in this format. We are less than a week in, but I have been doing pretty darn good so far. So let's go ahead and show. As you can see here, we have one losing draft, and that was my second draft ever, where I did try the green-black ramp deck. Didn't quite fit my style, and I'm sure I did a few things wrong. If you guys have watched that series, I didn't feel too good about it. But as you can see, we went 2-1 in 2 of the drafts and 3-0 in the last 4 that we've done, including a 8-4, a 4-3-2-2, and then a couple Swiss. Decks that we've been using so far have been, we've used red-white twice, blue-white, green-red, and black-white twice. So we've been doing pretty darn good so far, and just racking up the packs. I know that this is a small sample size, but right now this is actually working pretty good for me. Alright, so the number 5 tip is hitting your land drops matter. Running 18 lands is acceptable even if you're in a quite aggressive style of deck. Unlike when you were playing in Magic Origins, where you were running a lot of 16, 17 land decks, if you were an aggressive deck, you want to get that 18th land in there because there's so much you can do with it. Oftentimes you'll find it better to be slightly land heavy in your starting hand rather than hoping to hit your second or third land drop quickly. You know, where you keep that one lander or that two lander, you're definitely going to be kicking yourself later in the game. There's a lot of decks that can there are not a lot of decks that can punish a slow start in this format, but all of them will take advantage of you if you miss your land drops. So you do have to make sure that you're getting that, and running 18 lands is definitely a way to do that. There's so much to do with your mana in this format that you're constantly wishing that you had more mana. Not only by having the giant Eldrazi's that cost 10, but you're also looking to use it for all your activated abilities on your lands, on your creatures, and you need those lands to do it. So number 4, activated abilities are important. As I was just talking about, you need those lands for it. Many games tend to go late, past turns 8 through 10, and having creatures or lands that have activated abilities on them is a key to sneaking out a win. You know, being able to use your Blighted Gorge to sacrifice it to get that last 2 damage through, or kill that important creature that they have. Using a Spawning Bed to go ahead and make those 3 Eldrazi Scion tokens so you can attack in or make that bigger creature. I know Valakut Invoker has definitely cost me a little bit when my opponent plays it against me, but it's also helped me. You know, when you're on turn 10, you and your opponent are both going off the top of your deck, and you're able to do a lightning bolt with your excess mana. You're going to feel so much better than your opponent will when they just have a land and nothing else to do. When you're drafting, you're going to see a lot of 5 to 8 mana activated abilities, and you're going to think, you know, I'm never going to get to that, I'm not going to use it. But these are some of the important things that you need to think about later in your packs, and you really need to be looking at these cards. Number 3, lands can be used as combat tricks. You know, this is Zendikar. Lands are important. You got to remember that. Unlike in other sets, you may actually want to hold playing a tapped land until you can use it as a trick rather than just, you know, playing your tap land because you don't have another play right then. You know, some of these cards are super important. Skyline Cascade can be a huge tempo play by taking out their creature for a turn. You know, gaining Vigilance and First Strike with Looming Spires and Sandstone Bridge are really important. And if you don't have a creature to put that on, you're not going to be able to take advantage of that combat trick. These are basically like combat tricks. And it's easy to forget that because they're just lands that come into play tapped. But you do want to use them appropriately. You know, Mortuary Mire, a lot of people aren't really ranking that one very highly, but I've found that it is really important to get back that one creature where, you know, if you do a Alpha Strike attack on your opponent and they take out your best creature, well, then you play your Mortuary Mire afterwards, and you're going to get that card back next turn. You know, that's something that they're not factoring in when they're doing combat. Also, Evolving Wilds is super important in this format. You know, when you're playing the Landfall deck, Evolving Wilds is like an instant speed combat trick. Not only on your side, but also on your opponent's side of the side of combat. You can use it on defense, which typically you don't get to take advantage of in the Landfall mechanic. Number 2, 1 and 2 drops matter a ton if you're if you're trying to draft a aggressive aggro deck, you really want to be getting these 1 and 2 drops. They're cards that I see going around all the time. Not quite these ones that I'm showing right now. Snappy Gnarly and McKindy Sliderunner are easy ones to see, are really good. But you have a lot of the white and black allies that tend to go around. You have the red ally, the 2-drop 2/2 that attacks each turn unless you have an ally. These are cards that are super important when you're trying to build a aggressive aggro deck. You need to be looking for these. More than previous sets, they're probably as important or more important than picking up your 3 and 4 drops, which is where you typically see some really strong cards. These set the pace for you when you're going against these decks that are trying to ramp into large Eldrazi's. You do want to take advantage of them, and a lot of them are at the common level. They allow you to control the board early and attack life totals. A lot of times you're going to be able to get your opponent down to, 10 to 14 life before they even get a creature on the board if they're, not hitting a creature until turn 3 or 4. Also, they get stronger with allies and landfall decks. They stay strong as the game goes on. With the ally decks, you just get the rally trigger on each one. So having those rally triggers out early is super important. You do want to watch for that. Number 1, find the archetype that works for you and get in it. All right. Synergy matters so much in this format. You do want to, it's just like if you, when you played Modern Masters 15, the deck with good synergy typically would beat the deck that just had good cards. You do really want to get into an archetype and embrace it. Learn what the synergies are in each color combination and try to build your deck towards them. A lot of times you're going to pick a card that looks crappy, and you know what? That's okay. It's okay to grab that card that doesn't look like it's going to be good in most decks, but it's going to be really strong in your deck. It may not be the best pick if you just look at a pack at face value, but in pack 3, it's going to be really important for you to pick up that 2-drop ally or that 1-drop, I don't know, landfall creature. But that's the key. Pick the archetype that suits you. I personally do best with aggro. And there's a lot of ways to be really aggressive aggro in this format. There's 10 different archetypes. If you just take the moment to look at what each color combination really is trying to do and build around it, you're going to do much better than just drafting, what card looks the most powerful in each pack. I'd like to thank you all for watching. Please remember, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. This is Josh, once again, with Basement Level Magic, and we really appreciate all your views and comments as well. Thank you.